Welcome back to NBC News Channel. Today we will learn about the issue of explosive twists shaking up days of our lives from December 8-12. The coming week in Salem is not just dramatic, it is a carefully constructed web of misdirection, long-buried secrets, and emotional landmines that will detonate under almost every major family in town. What at first looks like a straightforward crime story, a little forbidden romance, and a DiMera mystery quickly reveals itself to be a multi-layered arc where every character move has consequences. Stephanie's nightmare, the stalker revealed, and a kidnapping that changes everything. For weeks, Stephanie has been living with a sense of creeping dread, the anonymous messages, the unsettling feeling of being watched, the subtle signs that someone has been in her space. Up until now, that fear has been intangible, something she could rationalize away as stress or paranoia. This week, that changes in the worst possible way. The stalker is finally confirmed to be Owen Kent, not some faceless stranger, but a man with enough calculation and coldness to plan every step of his obsession. His interest in Stephanie is not casual and not impulsive. Viewers will see that he has studied her routines, her relationships, and even her emotional vulnerabilities. This isn't random, it is personal. Owen's reveal doesn't come as a dramatic unmasking at a party. It comes in the form of escalation. The tension spikes when he moves from watching Stephanie to abducting her. The kidnapping is not just a shock plot, it is designed to isolate Stephanie, strip her of her support system, and test how far her loved ones will go to get her back. The setting of her captivity, likely remote and deliberately chosen, will underscore how calculated Owen really is. Expect chilling moments where his twisted logic and justification are revealed in unnerving conversations with his victim. Papa Patch steps in, a father, a detective, and a man on the edge. The second Stephanie disappears, this stops being an ordinary case and becomes a deeply personal mission for Steve Patch Johnson. As a father, he is terrified. As an investigator, he is laser-focused. That duality is what will drive some of the strongest scenes of the week. Steve will dig into Owen Kent's background, connections, and motives. The investigation won't happen neatly in a police station. Patch will rely on old contacts, street-level information, and his own instincts honed over years of dangerous work. Viewers can expect tense confrontations, risky leads, and a willingness from Steve to bend or even break the rules if it means getting his daughter home alive. What makes this arc particularly gripping is that Steve's desperation could cause friction with others in law enforcement. If he believes official channels are moving too slowly or making the wrong calls, he may go rogue, setting up a collision between professional procedure and a father's fury. This raises the emotional stakes. The longer Stephanie is missing, the more Steve is pushed to his breaking point. Jeremy under suspicion, the perfect red herring. In classic Salem fashion, while the real villain is hiding in plain sight, suspicion falls on the wrong man. Jeremy quickly becomes the prime suspect in Stephanie's stalking and kidnapping, despite being entirely innocent of this particular crime. Jeremy's history, personality, or prior mistakes likely make him an easy target for blame. Maybe he has acted impulsively in the past or crossed lines that make people believe he is capable of something dark. This is exactly what makes him an effective misdirection. The suspicion feels almost believable, both to characters and viewers. As the town turns its gaze on Jeremy, his relationships will strain under the weight of doubt. People who once trusted him may hesitate. Investigators may chase the wrong leads. This misdirection isn't just a narrative trick, it delays justice, wastes critical time, and deepens the sense of danger Stephanie is in. The more everyone fixates on Jeremy, the more freedom Owen Kent has to tighten his grip. The emotional twist here is that Jeremy, while innocent of the kidnapping, may still be forced to confront parts of himself he doesn't like: resentment, anger, or past behavior that makes others think he is capable of something monstrous. His journey is not about guilt for the crime, but about how easily people are willing to believe the worst. Down in the DiMera shadows, Gwen, EJ, and Dr. Rolf's secret lab meeting. While one part of Salem spirals around Stephanie's disappearance, another corner sinks deeper into DiMera darkness. Gwen Rechek, EJ DiMera, and the ever-sinister Dr. Wilhelm Rolf convene in a secret lab, and the very setting tells viewers everything they need to know. This is not about justice, this is about power and control. The lab is more than a science room, it is a monument to every morally questionable experiment Rolf has ever conducted for the DiMera family. EJ's presence there is crucial. He isn't just a visitor, He is a DiMera heir, taking inventory of what kind of legacy he is willing to tolerate. EJ's recent trip down there to visit a mysterious subject in a test tube will now take on a much more urgent tone. This is no abstract experiment, it is a person suspended between life and death through Rolf's interference. The looming question: who is Rolf planning to wake from the supposedly dead? This mystery adds a chilling layer to the week's events. In Salem, death is rarely final, and Rolf's work means old enemies, lost loves, and dangerous wildcards can be pulled back onto the chessboard at any time. Gwen's role here can go in several directions: accomplice, skeptic, or opportunist who sees this resurrection as a way to push her own agenda. Crypt kidnappers and bones under the floor. Theo, Chad, Kristen, and Tony uncover a buried secret. As if one active kidnapping weren't enough, another chilling plot unfolds in the DiMera crypt, a place already steeped in Gothic history. Theo soon joins the strange, tense group drawn into this mystery, working alongside Chad, Kristen, and Tony. They are effectively crypt kidnappers, a term that captures both their physical presence in the tomb and the sense that they too are being trapped by the secrets it holds. What begins as a search or confrontation quickly turns into a macabre discovery: human skeletons that are not resting in their designated coffins. Instead, the remains are concealed under the floor tiles, clearly hidden with intent. This is not negligence or a clerical error. This is a crime scene, and the implication is obvious. Someone was murdered or secretly buried here for reasons rooted in DiMera darkness. This revelation deepens the show's long-running theme that the DiMera legacy is built not just on business power, but on literal buried bodies. Each bone under those tiles represents a story someone tried to erase. For Chad, Kristen, Tony, and Theo, the discovery forces a moral reckoning. How do you live with a family history written in secrets and blood? The FBI steps in. Rafa delivers the devastating identification. Once the bones are recovered, the situation escalates from creepy family matter to federal investigation. The remains are turned over to the FBI, transitioning the discovery from private horror to official case. For a family accustomed to handling things in-house, this loss of control is unsettling. After analysis, Rafa Hernandez arrives with the answer everyone both craves and dreads. He comes to inform EJ and the DiMera family that the remains have been positively identified. The revelation confirms what longtime viewers and careful characters have begun to suspect: the bones belong to a DiMera, one whose name still carries weight. The emotional center of this reveal is Kristen. When she hears who it is, she breaks down in tears. This reaction is not just grief, it is guilt, regret, and the collapse of whatever fragile hope she may have held that this person was alive, in hiding, or might surface one day. Her tears tell the story. This is not a distant relative, but someone whose loss cuts deeply. The word from Spoilers is that the remains belong to Peter, who is confirmed to return at least in narrative focus around December 19th. His presence through these bones ties the present danger to old storylines and long-held grudges. Even in death, DiMeras complicate everything. Days of Our Lives heats up Sarah and Brady's forbidden spark. Away from the skeletons and kidnappings, Salem's emotional temperature rises in another way entirely. Sarah and Brady are about to share a kiss that could reshape multiple relationships and alliances. This isn't a throwaway moment of passion. Their kiss is charged with history, mutual vulnerability, and complicated loyalties. Sarah has often found herself drawn to men who carry damage and baggage, and Brady has more than his share of both. Their connection has the potential to be tender, but also highly volatile. In the aftermath, Sarah may pressure Brady to soften his stance toward Marlene. Brady has been furious with Marlene for hiding Rachel from him after the incident where Rachel shot EJ. As a father, he feels betrayed and sidelined. However, Sarah might argue that Marlene's actions, while misguided, were meant to protect a traumatized child, not to punish Brady. The added twist is that Brady's rage may be fueled less by fresh hurt and more by a pattern of unresolved resentments. The line "he hates her" captures the depth of that emotional wound, but Sarah could challenge him to examine whether that hatred is truly sustainable or fair, especially if it risks damaging his relationship with Rachel even further. Xander's fury, a ring off, a job lost, and Maggie in the middle. The fallout from Sarah and Brady's kiss doesn't stop with whispered guilt. It explodes into confrontation when Xander finds out. In a moment that symbolizes both heartbreak and rage, Xander takes off his wedding ring. This gesture is powerful It is his way of declaring that the bond he thought was unbreakable has been shattered. But Xander doesn't stop there. He fires Brady over the kiss with Sarah, mixing personal betrayal with professional punishment. This move is emotional, impulsive, and very much in character for Xander, who often leads with his temper before strategy. He wants Brady to feel the consequences immediately: lose the woman, lose the job, lose the stability. Into this storm steps Maggie, a moral anchor in a town full of chaos. She may refuse to let Xander off the hook, forcing him to examine whether his reaction is truly about protecting his marriage or simply about punishing others to avoid facing his own flaws. Maggie's compassion does not mean she excuses betrayal, but she often pushes for redemption where others see only revenge. This triangle, or perhaps quadrangle, if Brady's feelings start to shift, sets the stage for emotional confrontations where apologies, accusations, and buried insecurities all come to the surface. Kat and EJ, seduction, betrayal, and a dangerous game in the DiMera mansion. If the DiMera crypt holds old secrets, the DiMera mansion is where new schemes are born. Kat and EJ are set to share a kiss that is far from innocent. This isn't romance, it is strategy wrapped in seduction. Kat is playing a longer game. She will set a trap for EJ, lacing his beloved scotch with a sedative. Once he is rendered unconscious, she searches the house with a specific purpose, likely hunting for evidence, documents, or objects that can give her leverage over him or the DiMera empire. This move tells viewers exactly who Kat is: bold, calculated, and unafraid to cross ethical lines to get what she wants. Drugging EJ is not a spur-of-the-moment idea. It's premeditated. She understands that EJ is sharp, guarded, and suspicious. To get past his defenses, she must simultaneously appeal to his ego and neutralize his awareness. The question becomes, what does Kat find while EJ is out cold? Hidden files? Keys? Lab access codes tied to Rolf's experiments? The answer could easily intersect with the other ongoing plots: the test tube subject, the crypt discoveries, or even DiMera financial secrets that connect to Salem's greater power balance. When EJ wakes up, there may be gaps in his memory, a vague sense that something is off, and subtle signs in the room that things have been disturbed. This creates a cat-and-mouse psychological game. He knows someone has played him, but proving it and realizing it was Kat will fuel future confrontations. A week where every secret feeds another. From Stephanie's abduction and Owen Kent's twisted obsession to Rolf's resurrective experiments, buried DiMera skeletons, and the emotionally charged entanglements of Sarah, Brady, Xander, Kat, and EJ, the week of December 812 in Days of Our Lives is built like a domino chain. Every event pushes the next one forward. A kidnapping exposes hidden loyalties, a lab meeting hints at a resurrection, bones in a crypt force a family to face its past, and one stolen kiss sets off professional and romantic explosions. Viewers aren't just watching isolated storylines, they are witnessing the slow convergence of secrets that will define Salem's future weeks and months. Prepare for revelations, confrontations, and shifting alliances. In Salem, nothing stays buried, not skeletons, not emotions, and certainly not the truth.